The National League is interesting because I don't know who's going to win the National League. No matter who gets in, I think all these teams are even keel. I mean, if the Mets get in, are you going to think you're going to just run right through the Mets? The Mets have a lineup that has Lindor, Soto, Pete Alonso, Vientos. I mean, Vientos was the hottest hitter in the National League, and Soto was the hottest hitter in the American League last season. Vientos got hot in the second half and finally started to hit, and Soto is one of the hottest hitters in baseball. Are you going to just run all over the Mets if they sneak into the playoffs? I don't think so. Even with the young pitching they have with McClain as their number one guy. Senga is not going to probably be called up, and if he does, he's going to be in the bullpen. The Chicago Cubs are interesting. And the reason why I think the Chicago Cubs are interesting is because I think they have a lot of depth in their lineup. They have one of the best outfields in all of baseball. They have a good pitching squad, and their bullpen has been sensational in the second half of the season. They've been outlasted by a Brewers team that has just been so very hot since the All-Star break. They've been the hottest team in baseball. The Brewers are dangerous, but am I going to trust the Brewers, even if they're the number one seed in the National League? Am I going to trust them after what I've seen over the years, choking? No matter how talented they are, they're not going to have to play in the wild card game like they did last year. And you know what happened to them with the Mets. Pete Alonso hit a 3-run home run in the 8th inning. And so long to the Brewers. And Devin Williams is now a New York Yankee and choking, as we talk about all the time. Phillies, I expect the Phillies to be the most dangerous team in the National League. And the reason why is I think they have everything to win. Now, they lost Zach Wheeler for the season. That's going to hurt them. They lost their number one guy. He is as good as any pitcher, and he's been as good as any pitcher in the last 3 years of baseball. But I still think they have enough depth. They added some good arms at the trade deadline. I think they have a very good bullpen, and their lineup is ridiculous. This could be the best lineup in all of baseball, depth-wise, and I love Thompson, Yankee guy. I think he's one of the more underrated managers in all of baseball. I think they have the National League MVP in Kyle Schwarber. I think he's been. I think he's the National League MVP. He's been so good. As good as Juan Soto has been, Kyle Schwarber has been the most important player on his Philadelphia Phillies team. And by the way, a Philadelphia Phillies team that's in first place in the National League East to the Mets, who are right now
free falling,
trying to crawl into the playoffs. If you would ask me who the MVP of the National League is, it's Kyle Schwarber. He has been unbelievable. Unbelievable this year.
Yeah, 53 home runs for a bulkier guy. I mean, it's not a Cal Raleigh like them because he's not playing the catcher, but he has a catcher's body.
Hold on one second. Kyle Schwarber has done this before. Maybe not 53 home runs, but he has been an all-around power hitter. I remember him with the Cubs. Yeah. The Cubs are probably shaking their heads why they let him go, but I remember when he was a catcher for the Cubs and they moved him to the outfield. I think Kyle Schwarber is by far the best player in the National League this year, and he has the reason why the Phillies are probably the most dangerous team in baseball, especially in the National League, is because of him, because you could put him anywhere in that lineup. You could bat him first, second, third, fourth, fifth. The guy he can hit lefties, he can hit righties. Go look at his numbers. It's unbelievable what this guy has transformed the way he hits. On the Philadelphia Phillies. He is the best player in the National League. He is the bona fide MVP for the National League. The Dodgers, they're the most dangerous. And the reason why is they're deferred. And what I mean by that is when the season is almost over, you're not talking about what Shohei Ohtani almost pitched a no-hitter yesterday. We're not even talking about that. We're talking about a team that has a tremendous amount of depth. Now, their pitching staff has not stayed healthy, but they're getting healthier. This is a good bullpen. This team has all the layers to win another championship this year. The Padres, not so much. I don't know what it is with the Padres. I'm not betting on the Padres. I'm not. Because every time I bet on the Padres, I lose. So I'm not a betting man, and my money is not towards the Padres. I think the Padres have a great lineup. I really do. I think they're really good. And losing King, is he out for the season now?
No, he actually pitched yesterday against the Mets.
I didn't even know he came back.
He pitched yesterday against the Mets, allowed 5 runs in the first inning.
All right, so he came back. I didn't even know he came back. If King's not at full strength, do they really have a number one? Do they really? I mean, the Padres got a tremendous amount of depth, and their pitching squad they have a good pitching staff, but do they have a bona fide number one? And then that's the problem, because you know teams always play out. They always have an ace. The Yankees have an ace. They have Max Fried. The Mets have an ace. Well, we think they have an ace, a young guy in McLean. I mean, the Phillies have 2 aces, even without Wheeler.
They might have 3. They had 2 All-Stars. So.
Yeah. I mean, all these teams, Ohtani, I mean, we know that the Dodgers have an ace. All these teams have aces. The Padres don't. So I'm not betting on the Padres. And as far as the Reds are concerned, I want to see the Reds make the playoffs, because I know Goody's going to be jumping and tell me, I told you Terry's the best manager in baseball. I can't wait until he comes in. And he will be in hopefully a little bit later.
That's going to be a rough show if I have to witness Goody celebrating the Reds steal the Mets playoff spot.
I think he should be cheering for the Guardians. You want to hope that they get in. So maybe he's doing a broadcast with the Guardians, because he's been doing such a great job with the Guardians all season long. And the Giants aren't making the playoffs either. I can't see the Giants winning. They got to win probably 8 of their next 11 games to even sneak into the play. I don't see it.
And I think they play 3 against the Dodgers next.
The Diamondbacks are interesting, because if the Diamondbacks sneak in with the young players that they have, and by the way, this might be the best young outfield in baseball. That's how good they are. They're dangerous, because we've seen what they've done. They've been to a World Series. They lost against the Texas Rangers.
Phillies got the division. The Cubs clinched a playoff spot today. Cubs will be interesting, see what Kyle Tucker comes back. Obviously, Palencia has had a crazy year. The dude's arm is great, but he's going to come back late. He got banged up. Padres, just the starting pitching is crazy, because you had guys that know you can do it, but coming off injuries. Back end, I mean, offensively, they can score. They can do some things that way. The Brewers, it's just they get there, and then that's about it. There's not enough guys on that team that know how to win for me personally. They're obviously, with the depth of the pitching and how they've, been able to produce the pitching that they have. I'm very, very interested to see what they're going to do with Miz, and, if they're going to run him out there and do, what he said. I disagree on the bona fide, obviously, and you know who I'm going to say.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
He goes and throws 5 no-hit innings and then hits his 50th homer. There's no bona fide in what Kyle Schwarber's doing. He's DHing. That's it. Bona fide is not even in that vocabulary when you got a guy going that literally tried to talk himself into staying in the game, and then the dude gives up a hit the next inning. So bona fide is not even in the question. It'll be a good race. Is Kyle deserving of some really good accolades? 100%. But 5 no-hit innings, then go hit your 50th homer.
Vegas has Schwarber winning. Vegas has Schwarber winning.
Oh, no. At the same time, should Aaron Judge lose the home run derby or the MVP? No, he's having a. They're going to do everything they can to give to Cal Raleigh. I just don't get. I understand the catcher aspect of it, but it's acting like the dude's curing cancer. He's just a catcher that's a really good hitter, and if you look at him historically and numbers wise, he's not even in the top 10 of a switch hitting season. What he's doing is crazy, and then obviously the Mariners record is Griffey all over the board, and obviously now with Cal doing what he's doing, so. Yeah, I mean it'll be interesting to see what those come down to. I think the races should be fun. There has to be something crazy that happens, and we've seen it before where it happens. And you've got a lot of these teams too where some of the most dangerous teams to play right now are the spoilers, because it's we got nothing to play for. Let's go ruin somebody's season. We've seen it. The Orioles did it to the Red Sox. We've seen that before. And so there's been plenty of times where it happens, and there's a bunch of injuries. There's literally you don't know if they're going to come back or how they're going to hold up. What are you going to do? We saw Ohtani said he's not adverse to them, playing him in the outfield. How do you balance that? Do you take the chance and risk it? I don't know. So
yeah,
this is a fun time. Yeah, and everybody's kind of the things that I've read and saw is it's kind of you don't take that chance. I mean, I wouldn't. There's no way you can bring him out of the bullpen, obviously. So that'll be interesting. But I think it's shaping up to be kind of what we thought it was going to be. There might be the Mets may do something crazy. I mean, who knows? but there's striking distance with some of those teams that could make some moves. Which, Speedy, you said it too. It's like the Diamondbacks were like, all right, we're out of it. Like, let's just yard sale the entire. Well, you didn't yard sale enough, because now it's like, hey, we just played ourselves into a chance.
Well, they were trying to buy high with a lot of those pitchers. They did, besides Merrill Kelly, they didn't get the offers they wanted. So why not keep them at that point?
Yeah, and I mean, with the Padres, you had Nick Pivetta obviously step up. He signed that 4-year deal with the Padres, and now it's you get a little dead presidents in your pocket and some comfort level. It allows you to pitch, a little bit different and with some comfort. And we're seeing that. And he's always been a grinder, even with the Red Sox and stuff like that. So this is going to be a fun time of the year, because there's going to be somebody that drops the ball, no pun intended, and we got somebody that sneaks in.
The Blue Jays are going to win the American League East. I'm not betting on the Blue Jays. I'm not. As good as the Blue Jays have been really throughout the season, I still think they're not the best team in the American League. I still think the Yankees are the better team, but I've been very impressed with the Red Sox and their bullpen and what they've provided. And if the Yankees do wind up getting the number 1 seed in the wild card, they're matched up against the Red Sox. So the Yankees are going to have to go through the Red Sox to move on. And that's not easy. That's not going to be an easy argument as a Yankee fan to see the Red Sox and the Yankees play and say, oh, the Yankees are the bona fide team to knock off the Red Sox. I don't know if that's true. The Red Sox are young, they're hungry, and they know that the Yankees are not a playoff hitting team. They have not been that way really a long time. Since 2009, honestly, they can't hit in the playoffs. The fact that the Yankees made the World Series last year, I thought it had a lot to do with the Yankees pitching and timely hitting by Giancarlo Stanton and Juan Soto. That's and Gleyber Torres, too, in certain parts of the game. But they didn't have enough to really get there. The American League was just so weak. The Guardians were the team that matched up against the Yankees in the American League championship. I don't think the Guardians aren't going to make the playoffs this year. So
I mean, but that's a crazy that they're always in the conversation, though, because obviously, and this is my opinion, this is opinions of a lot of people, they have the most underrated player in baseball, hands down, not even a question, in Rammer and Jose Ramirez. But they're always in the question. They're always grinders. I think Stephen Vogt is the right guy for that team, for what he can do. Oh, great minds think alike, Fish. Oh, boy. And it works because he allows them to be them. And, they're not out of it. Like, it was funny that you brought it up, saying that Goody cheering for the Reds because he said it. But I was like, dude, wouldn't you want to cheer for the Guardians now that you've covered them for this year?
That show will be so rough if the Reds get in the playoffs and the Mets pull off a historic collapse.
Oh, yeah, because he'll be like, yeah, I told you so. And Tito obviously is that guy too. But, yeah, they're always in the conversation. I'm interested to see who they send to the pen if it plays out. If it ended today, do you send Will Warren or Cam? Obviously, you're going to run 1 and 2 out there, and Max and Rodon. So, I think the AL kind of is going to play itself into what it is. Red Sox, it could get interesting. Some of those guys that are coming in and they have the experience, the Bregmans of the world that come in, and so then you got the Astros, and who knows what the Astros have up their sleeve.
Seattle's not the dangerous team in the American League. The dangerous team is the Tigers. The Tigers are young. To me, they've got all the power in the world in that lineup. They can hit for average. I think they're as dangerous as any team in the American League because they have nothing to lose. Now, obviously, that story that came out, that definitely gives a little bit of a brush fire for the organization. But this could completely hover over what we heard over the last week on what happened with the Detroit Tigers over the last couple of years. If Detroit somehow sneaks into the World Series and wins a World Series this year, nobody's going to be talking about that. No matter how big of a story that became, and maybe there's more behind it, if Detroit wins a World Series or goes to the World Series and challenges whoever they match up against, nobody's going to be talking about it. It'll be like, this team is the team to beat in the American League.
Who's going to match up against their ace, though?
That's the problem. And that's why I think they're dangerous. I don't know. Max Fried? And I don't know if that...
Phillies probably have the best shot with
I don't
the
know.
left-handed hitters.
I'm not talking about the National League. We're talking about the American League, Speedy. We're talking about who's coming out of the American League. And right now, if you look at all the teams that are going to be fighting to get out of the American League, the two teams that really, if the Yankees somehow get through the Red Sox, if they match up against the Red Sox, I think the Yankees go to the American League Championship. Because if they match up against Seattle or they're matched up against the Astros, I think they're better than both of those teams. I do. I think they're better than both of them. So I think that in my opinion, it would be the Yankees and the Tigers in the American League Championship. And it would be Max Fried versus, the name that I can never pronounce. So I'm not even going to bother. So, but the fact is, right now, Tarek, by the way, I got it. There it is. All right. Am I right?
His last name. We get the first one.
No, I'm not doing that. Anyways, but the American League is really rests on the Yankees getting through out of the wild card spot with the Red Sox if they matched up against them. I'm worried about the Red Sox because they got nothing to lose. They got all these young guys. They want to run right through the Yankees. You've heard some of the young guys that have never been in these playoff games against the New York Yankees telling that this is what I always wanted to be a part of. I wanted to be a part of this banter about who's better, the Yankees or the Boston Red Sox. So that's fun. That's going to be fun, but it's scary as a Yankee fan. You don't want to see that as a Yankee fan. Could you imagine this young Red Sox team go right through the New York Yankees in, 3 games? Mm-hmm. And to me, that's scary. And I think it could happen because I don't trust if Aaron Judge has to show up in the playoffs. He's got to show up and he's got to hit, which he hasn't done.
Yeah, and that's the one thing too, and you've got obviously no playoff Stanton, but what Soto did, and whether you like him or not, I don't really care. That's neither here nor there. But you're going to have somebody like that, and that's the part that we don't really know if there's anybody on the Yankee lineup that really could have that effect that Soto has. Obviously, Stanton. Stan could go 5 for 6 with 2 homers, a double. He could also punch out 6 times.
Bellinger's pretty good in the playoffs too. I mean, if
you
look at
that's the only one that was where I was going. Is like that's about. And hell, who knows? Nobody even thought Trent Grisham was going to play as much as he had. I mean, coming into spring training, it was like, hey, he's going to play. He was a throw-in, Dan. I mean, literally, like, hey, throw this guy in. Like, oh, we don't want him. He's got 32 homers. That could happen. Belly's obviously been there before. He gets it. I don't see them rushing Roman Anthony back to get it, and there's a lot of young dudes in that lineup. But yeah, I just wanted to get to the playoffs because there's going to be some crazy stuff that happens, and then going into the playoffs, yes, we're going to have the same kind of band of teams that we've had. Hopefully, maybe there's some mix-ups in there and some upsets and guys go further, but there's going to be injuries that play a part. There's going to be people that diarrhea down their leg and lose a chance to get in the playoffs.
What?
So I was just talking about the Mets.